Hey, thanks for joining us this week on TNT. This week I'm going to be hunting in North Texas with a Facebook friend of TNT. Mr. Ross and his son drive all the way from Georgia to Texas to chase the elusive whitetail buck. This is TNT.
TNT Outdoor Explosion is brought to you by High-Vis Shooting Systems. See what you've been missing. ESP, Electronic Shooters Protection. Hear better, shoot better, no matter your passion. Dead Downwind, real science, real results. It's not just luck. Mojo Outdoors, it ain't magic if it ain't mojo. Zeiss, we make it visible. Knox Flashlights, get lit, blaze trails. Farm Country, 33 years and experience matters. Cinnamon Creek Ranch, ultimate in archery.
Well, this week we were going to be hunting at the Three Amigos Ranch in North Texas, and you know, we've done some shows here before. We did one of our dream trips with a kid named Brody a few years ago, and just had a phenomenal time, and I was really excited about going because I personally had not actually ever hunted this place. I'd always just taken other people there. So when Frank and Anthony asked me to come down and hunt, I was pretty excited. Well, one of the things we did on this trip is I was talking to Anthony, and he thought it would be a great opportunity for someone else to come along on the hunt. So we went on our Facebook page at facebook.com TNT Outdoor Explosion and did a post offering a hunt to someone who responded. And luckily for us, a gentleman by the name of Ross out of Georgia immediately responded to our Facebook post, literally within 60 seconds, and said he would like to bring his son on this trip to Texas. And so Ross and I exchanged contact information and sorted out all the details so that they could come have a hunt in Texas. Well, I'd been talking to Ross on the morning of the hunt, and they were driving in from Georgia, which was a long, long drive. And so I contacted him early that morning and kind of got an update of where they were in the process. And I knew that it would be about lunchtime when they got there. So me and my crew just headed down to the ranch to make sure we could get there before they did so we could greet them at the ranch. Ross, how's it going? Todd Cast.
Ross Butler.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Pleasure to meet you.
Long drive, huh?
Yeah, man, I tell you what.
How you doing, young man? I'm Todd. What's your name?
Ross.
Ross.
Ross the Third.
Ross the
That's
Third.
the hunter right there.
You ready to hunt?
Yes, sir.
You look excited. Well, the first order of business when we got to camp was to set up the target and let little Ross check his gun. And he was going to be shooting a .243 this week. And so Frank got a target set up, and we got a good rest for him. And we actually went over some basic shooting tips and things to help little Ross with his shooting. And he fired quite a few rounds at the target, and we got the gun right where we wanted it, and I think he was pretty comfortable, so it was time to head to the stand.
it's 5:15 in the morning, and
It takes me 2 minutes to get there.
it's going to take a little bit to get to the stand. So we're going to have some breakfast bars, something to drink, head to the stand. Hopefully this wind doesn't blow us out of the box.
It was the windiest hunting conditions I've ever been in my life. If I had been at the house, I would have woke up, heard the wind, and went back to sleep. But in spite of the wind, we were here and we wanted to make the best of it. And in spite of the wind, we saw deer, and that was very surprising to me. I didn't expect to see anything several days whenever we were in the stand. The wind was blowing so hard. It was a couple of times I was almost ready to hold on to the side of the stand. It was blowing so hard.
Trick to it is, get that grill hot, about 500 degrees. Throw those steaks on there, shut it down, let them sear real good on one side, leave them out there for about, 4 to 5 minutes. Flip them over, 4 to 5 minutes, and you got your good medium rare ribeye.
One doe eased off to the to our left side, and the buck headed for her. He was walking. Anthony, one of the amigos, hit the grunt, and he stopped just long enough for little Ross to get off a shot. That boy ain't dropped yet, Anthony.
I can't tell where he is.
See? He made the shot. We saw the deer arch its back. It jumped up and hunched. It ran probably about 25 yards, and it looked like it would fall at any time, but it didn't. We almost took another shot, decided not to. We thought the deer was going to go down, and it was right at the edge of the tree line, and that was our mistake not to make another shot, but it eased off into the bushes. And we got down out of the stand, give it about 30-45 minutes. And we looked for blood at the location where we suspected the deer was when we shot, but we could not find any blood. We looked to where it stood at after the shot, didn't find any blood there. Looked in the immediate location of where the deer headed into the woods briefly, and then we decided we would resume the search at first light.
Well, early the next morning, there were 7 of us out there trying to find a blood trail and get on the track of this buck. And we covered, I don't know how much land. I mean, we all walked until we could hardly walk anymore. And I found a little bit of blood, just a few specks, about 200 yards from where the shot took place. And unfortunately, that was all the blood we found. And I feel really bad for little Ross, because I know how disappointing it can be sometimes to shoot a deer and not be able to recover that deer, because it's happened to everybody who's hunted very much. And unfortunately, that is part of hunting, It's a very sad part of hunting because you really want to recover anything you shoot regardless of what it is. And I can assure you it wasn't for lack of effort. Anthony and Frank and the whole crew spent an exorbitant amount of time and covered I don't know how much land trying to find this buck.
This segment is brought to you by Ghost Powder. Bring out the ghost.
This week's TNT Tech Tip is brought to you by Dead Downwind. Real science, real results. It's not just luck.
Victory HT is a lot more than just a new binocular generation from Carl Zeiss. It's a revolution in binocular design. We got the brightest optics with up to more than 95% in light transmission. We got the comfort focus concept for perfect ergonomics and the double link bridge for a maximum in durability and precision. In order to exceed the 95% light transmission level, we use what we call the HT concept. It is the best binocular for any hunter in the world.
Well, I was sitting in a box stand overlooking a draw, kind of a mesquite draw, and we had seen a lot of deer moving through the area, but we just weren't seeing the big mature bucks that we knew were there. And I think a big factor in that is the fact that we were dealing with 40+ mile an hour wind gust. We were dealing with 80+ degree temperatures, and this is November. And that's kind of the weather in Texas is very typical. You could have 85-degree days with horrible winds, or you could have 20-degree days with snow. So you never know what you're going to get. And unfortunately for us, we were getting bad wind and hot weather. Now the upside to our hunt was even though we had some extreme weather conditions to deal with, the bucks were in rut. They had just started rutting, so we timed it really well. And we knew eventually that would have to pay off to our advantage because we have seen numerous bucks chasing does, just unable to connect yet. You know, the great thing about having the bucks in the rut is it tends to bring the big boys out in the daylight when maybe you wouldn't normally see them. The bad part about having them in the rut like this is they are running so fast through the woods after does, and it's just flashes of deer here and there, and they never stop long enough for you to really get a good shot or to get a good evaluation of their age and their rack size. So we had seen what we believed to be a number of good bucks, but unfortunately they were just glimpses and we were not able to get off any shots. Well, it was actually very early our last morning, and just as I got a good hint of daylight, I could see a body moving through the mesquite flat. And I wasn't sure what it was. I actually had to just kind of follow it and wait for just a little bit more light. And once I got a little bit more light and got the glasses on him, I could determine for sure it was a buck. And as soon as there was enough light, I could determine that this was definitely a buck. Now, I didn't have a real good view of his rack, but I was pretty sure it was a shooter. Well, after I watched this buck mill around in the mesquite flats for probably another 10 minutes, I finally had enough light to get a good look at him. And I only had to look at him one time because I knew this was the shooter we'd been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by Farm Country. 33 years and experience matters.
Well, after I watched this buck mill around in the mesquite flats for probably another 10 minutes, I finally had enough light to get a good look at him. And I only had to look at him one time because I knew this was the shooter we'd been looking for. You know, as the morning progressed, we were unable to get a shot on this buck for the first 20 minutes of daylight. Eventually, he stepped into a clearing right before he stepped into another thick area and gave me a broadside shot at 150 yards. For quite a while and just could never get a clear shot on him. And I finally got a shot there right before he was leaving to go in the thick stuff. I think I made a good shot. We're going to give him a little bit just to be safe, but I think I made a good shot. We'll find out. Great morning here. We've had horrible weather all week, and we finally, our last hunt, had the weather turn, had a nice front come through last night. The deer were moving good. We had 2 shooter bucks, 3 or 4 does, and even a wild boar this morning that we saw. So I got a bullet in one down here, so we're gonna go take a look, see if we can get our hands on him. I think he's a good buck. Well, folks, we got him. He's laying right here in this high broomweed. It's hard to see him, but thank goodness we had a heck of a blood trail. I mean, we just shot him right there about 30 yards, but he went in this broomweed into the brush and I couldn't see him, but he crashed right here about 30 yards from where we shot him, so let's get a better look at this big boy. That is a big body mature buck. Big body, mature buck, just what I was looking for. And he is a monster. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ah. Look at the way his antlers come all the way around. What a toad. This is a mainframe 10, and he has split G3s on both sides. That, my friends, is a beautiful, beautiful Texas buck right there. That's the way we do it. I like it. What a buck. I could not be happier. Thanks to Anthony and Frank. I mean, these guys are first class here at Three Amigos. We've had a great hunt this week. We've ate well. Beautiful lodge. I mean, just everything has just been first class. I could not be happier with the way this week ended. And in, as me and my cameraman Clint say, in true TNT fashion, last minute of the last day, we got lucky. I'd rather be lucky than good anytime. Wow, what a great week we've had this week, and I look forward to doing this again sometime soon. Hey, if you'd like to find out more information about any of the sponsors or outfitters seen on the show, Be sure and check out our website at tntoutdoorexplosion.com. Or for free gear giveaways to viewers just like you, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/TNT Outdoor Explosion. Thanks for watching this week, and until next week, remember, do what you love and share it with your family.
Closed captioning was brought to you by ESP, Electronic Shooters Protection. TNT Outdoor Explosion is also brought to you by Coppersmith Global Logistics, Ghost Powder, Bayer Motor Company, Texas Hunting Land, Head Hanger.
You want to see this? That's where he said he wanted to ride, right there.
We'll have to take a ride.
Yeah, I'll take you for a ride in this. What do you think about this, buddy?
I don't know.
Huh? You won't